The following podcast is a discussion between two experts in their fields of beauty and not meant to be taken as medical advice. Be sure to consult with your doctor if you have any medical inquiries.
So we have Daria and Areta next to each other. How are you guys doing today?
Good. How are you?
Amazing, amazing. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a proper introduction. So just in case our audience doesn't know, Daria and Areta are the owners of the Chicago Extension Twins Hair Salon. But beyond that, they are, in my opinion, they are the at least the best in the area, if not the best in the world, at hair extensions. So we're going to pick their minds about everything about hair extensions. They've been doing hair extensions for about, between the two of them, about 27 years. And really just not just something they do for work. It's something that they're super passionate about. And it's the art of hair extensions and hair fusions, tape-ins, microlink extensions. So we're going to learn all about that for our audience. And I'm going to be coming from this from a different perspective. I'm more from the hair transplant perspective, the medical part, but we're just going to talk about hair extensions, what they are. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me and joining our audience today.
Thanks.
And I don't know who to talk to, so I'll just kind of throw a question out there, and you guys get used to that. Just kind of figure out who's going to talk about what. Mm-hmm. So just for our audience to know, what are hair extensions? And who needs them?
Everyone could use them. They're not just for length. A lot of women have long hair, but it's very sparse at the ends. So they don't need necessarily as much as someone with a full head. So anyone that wants to just even make their hair fuller, but then there's also the girls that want to look like Kim Kardashian. So we have it all across the board. Our clientele is usually between 14 to 80 years old. So,
and the goal of hair extensions, is this just to make your hair longer? Is it to make your hair fuller? Is it to change your color? Like, what can you do with hair extensions?
You can do all of the above. We can make your hair fuller. We can take long hair that's thin and make it super full. We can add different colors. We can make it look ombre without paying to have it done ombre. There's a lot you can do. We can add highlights if you don't feel like bleaching your hair. I only color my own roots, and then I put in different color extensions, and every time I want to change it. So,
okay. And so, how common? You guys see hair loss, from a different perspective. I'm assuming, what percentage of your audience is male? What percentage of your audience is female?
99.9% is female. Yeah. We do occasionally have a male client or transitioning.
A question for us is, we see a lot of men with hair loss, but we also see a lot of women. I think it's one of those things that women don't feel as comfortable talking about. What percentage of women are you seeing with hair loss, and what are their ages, and what are some of the main concerns you see from women coming in?
A lot. Yeah, but I would say that, hair loss has become more common with stress, with overstyling, with over-medicating. People just don't have great hair anymore. So hormonal, women that just had a baby, they usually lose a lot of hair, or illness like cancer and stuff like that. So it's pretty common.
And I think that I think from talking to my wife, is she thinks that women go through so many different phases of their hair. It's like the before child hair, the after child hair, she calls it, the pre-menopause, the during menopause, the post-menopause. And if you haven't lost your hair as a woman at one of those points, you're going to have some issues with hair and hair thinning. Is that a true fact?
100% correct. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we've kind of, we're going through it ourselves sometimes, especially during high stress times in our lives. I've lost a lot. Getting older doesn't help. Yeah.
As kind of as a preventative measure, what are some of the overstyling tips you see that people can do to kind of prevent their hair from being damaged? What are some of the things that you recommend that they avoid?
Flat ironing every day.
That's the big one.
Yeah, I have clients that re-flat iron their hair every single day, even though they probably don't need it. And yeah, curling.
And also a lot of these curling irons and flat irons now come with a temperature control. They don't need it on the hottest setting, and yet they have it on the hottest setting. So they're completely just destroying their hair. You know, those are the clients that when they come in for consultations, they'll say, I don't know why my hair never grows. And that's the first question that I say, well, do you flat iron or curl your hair very often? And usually the answer is yes. And I tell them it's not that it's not growing, it's just breaking, you know?
Is there a limit for some people's hair that you see that they can only grow their hair certain long? Like some people can only grow their hair to their ears or their shoulders. Have you noticed that for some of your clients that no matter what they do, they're not going to have that, you know, the back of the, halfway down to the back of their head hair?
Yeah, but it's usually because of the overstyling and it's constantly breaking. It's not for usually any other reason.
Over coloring, over processing with color.
Bleach hair. Yeah. Bleach highlights. And then curling it on top of it. So
yeah, but some of those it's kind of part of maintenance for some people, right? But it's just kind of trying not
to
do it.
Everyday life, yeah.
Cool. And then so if someone puts hair extensions in, by the way, are there any ethnicities that you guys treat? Are there like pretty much every ethnicity across the board? Is that fair?
Yeah, we have all different kinds of clients.
Yeah. Indian, African American, Asian, all across the board. There are different brands that we would use for different textures of hair, though.
Yeah, different methods too. Mm-hmm.
Is there a type of getting into the hair extension itself? Is there a type of prized hair? Well, from what I've heard, I'm half Indian, so I've heard that they prize Indian virgin hair as the most prized hair in the world. Is that true?
Yes, it has to be the virgin hair. And one of the companies we use, they are very strict with it being virgin hair. So there was one time a few years ago, they discovered one batch had henna in it. So they had to destroy that whole lot. So because of that, they were back ordered on certain colors for 2 months. It happened to be all the blondes. It happened to be around June when all these women were getting married.
Wow.
It was a disaster.
And to clarify for the audience, virgin hair means the hair's never been treated, not that the women are virgins, like they're...
Right, correct, yeah.
I had that wrong. I thought it was before women had kids, that their hair was different than after, like, no. So I was wrong.
Different companies have different processing techniques. So certain companies, their processing techniques are so gentle and it takes them such a long generally Indian hair is very dark. You don't see a lot of naturally blonde Indian women or men walking around. So the processing to get that from that dark color to the lightest shade of blonde can take 30 days for some companies that have a very gentle process versus some other companies. It's very quick, but it's much more damaging to the hair when they process it.
Yeah, and you can tell when you look at the quality of the hair.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so once you actually do the hair extensions, how do you attach the hair extensions in place?
We have different methods. So we do a microlink method, which is a metal cylinder where the hair gets weaved through and the extension piece looks like a shoelace and it gets put in there and then the metal gets clamped shut. The cylinder gets clamped shut and that's meant to be moved up every 2 months. The people that are good for that, people that have very curly, thick, coarse hair. And then we have tape-ins where the hair is taped on. It's usually the section's about 1 inch wide. Those are also meant to be maintained every 2 months where they're moved up. And then we have fusion, which is our favorite method, where the hair, the bond looks like a grain of rice. And once it's, fused onto your own hair, it looks like a little grain of rice. It's very undetectable. The bonds are the same color as the hair. And, I like to wear my hair in a high pony. You can brush it a certain way and you won't even be able to see it.
And it's a set it and forget it. There's no maintenance involved.
Yeah.
So it can last 4 to 5 months.
Yeah.
So you can brush your hair normally. You can go in the pool, all these different things with it.
Yeah. In fact, that's critical key to maintaining extensions is brushing. The most damage can come from people that aren't taking proper care of their hair and brushing it really well. You need to brush it directly over the bond area, no matter what type of extension is. you want to get those baby hairs. You want to make sure that nothing is kind of stuck in there. So
yeah, we've had some clients that have severe matting from not brushing, severe, like dreadlocks.
Oh, wow. And once the hairs are positioned, how long does it take to put hair extensions in for someone? I'm sure it varies from client to client, but what's your times?
Average time for just the install is about 2 to 3 hours. We do have clients that take an unusual amount of time. I only have like 2 clients that take me because it's a removal, shampoo, blow dry, and the redo. It takes me about 6 hours.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's like a full, huge head of hair, like 6 bundles. The most people don't get that much hair, so.
And so when you have the hair extensions in place, can they damage the hair, your existing hairs? And does it depend on what technique and how you do it?
Yeah, and it's also how people take care of it. We tell people if they're ever having any issues of them getting it just starts from a tiny little knot of them not taking care of it, and then it can grow exponentially so quickly. So we always tell clients, if there's anything you can't do to help maintain it, come on in and we'll do it for you. Otherwise, you're going to have a disaster on your hand. But if clients are taking care of it properly, the way we tell them to, they shouldn't have any issues. I've been wearing them for 18 years.
Your hair looks beautiful. Wow, both of your hair looks beautiful. Both have hair extensions in place?
We're each other's customers.
Yeah.
So you have the hair extensions in place. Then after 4 to 5 months, when should someone come back for like more extensions? Do they get a touch up? Like, how does that work?
For the hair that's reusable, like the tape-ins and the microbeads, every 2 months, every 8 weeks, you should come in, and then there's maintenance involved. With the fusion, if you're not having any issues with tangling, 4 months. For fine hair, maybe people can get to 5 months. I usually keep mine in for 5 months at a time. So,
and then we remove it all for fusion and get a new batch of hair, and then install it.
Is it easier the second time you do it around once you see someone coming in, or is it the same process?
Same process.
Mm-hmm. We're very meticulous in our application, and that is a huge thing with complaint from clients that come from other salons is if the work is sloppy going in, it's going to cause them nothing but problems from day one. So we're really, really meticulous about our application. It's very neat. It's very clean, so that in turn helps with a lot of issues with possible tangling for them.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you're going to do it right, especially if you're investing in your hair, just to do it the right way.
Yeah. Right.
And then can you tell like certain celebrities, if we play that little game of who has hair extensions, who doesn't? You're probably going to say everyone has hair extensions, but can you tell certain people who have hair extensions right away just looking at them?
Yes, the majority of the time, yeah.
My husband's actually pretty good with it too.
Yeah, and my boyfriend's gotten pretty good at it too. Or he'll ask me if we're watching Housewives, does she have it? Does she have it? Does she have it? The answer is 99% yes.
Yes, yeah.
Occasionally there'll be a couple people that I've seen on TV where I'm like, wow, if she doesn't, she's got an amazing head of hair. You don't see that very often.
Pretty rare. But I think the problem with that is that so many people think that this is normal and natural. And it's desirable because it looks so much better. Otherwise, people wouldn't do it. And it just looks healthy, vibrant, youthful. But some women are like, oh my God, how come I don't have hair like this? And it's because they don't know the trick, right?
Right. Exactly. Mm-hmm. But I feel like just when we were starting out, it wasn't as mainstream as it is now to have people that are 14 that want it like for Christmas as a Christmas gift to people that are 80 that want it, to add some fullness because they wear like a hair topper and they just want it fuller on the bottom. It's honestly, it's something that everybody can.
It's much more mainstream now than it ever has been.
So if I mention a celebrity name, tell me if you think they have hair extensions or not, and we'll just kind of put a little disclosure on this, knowing that. Okay, so I'll do an easy one. Kim Kardashian?
Yeah.
It's like, you guys didn't even hesitate. It was just like you rolled your eyes up like, yes.
And they're big on wigs too. The Kardashian family is very big on wigs. They get very expensive, beautiful $5,000 wigs so they're big on wigs too.
And wigs versus hair extensions. Obviously, a hair extension to me seems like it would be much more natural. It's undetectable. It just kind of seems like it's part of you. A wig it's going to have to come up at the end of the day, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And you're going to sweat through it. It just doesn't look quite, it's quite as elegant, I think, right?
Right.
How about Jennifer Aniston? She gets compliments a lot on her hair. Do you think it's real or not real?
She did when she was on Friends, and it was really long and straight. She did have extensions.
Oh,
but she
really?
said that it wrecked her hair. She felt like it wrecked her hair. And so one of my clients actually just about a week ago, she pulled up an old photo of Jennifer Aniston when she commented about how it wrecked her hair. This was like years and years ago. She was so young, and it was way too heavy, and it just didn't look natural. It did. So my thing is, it was probably applied wrong. It was too different for her hair texture, her hair density. Because the object is, you want to match the density of the client's hair with the extensions. You want it to blend and look seamless, versus giving someone that has very fine hair a full thick head of hair that's not going to look right, and be too heavy for them and cause breakage, or versus someone who has really thick hair and you don't put enough in and it looks kind of like a mullet, So, but in general, she has great hair, so she doesn't even need them.
Doesn't even need them, but probably has them.
Maybe for a special occasion. Yeah.
Okay. Is there anyone who has hair extensions out there that you're like, okay, this person has hair extensions, this celebrity, and she gets compliments on their hairs. Who's the most desired look from your clients that come in?
I would say Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
They seem to have the realm kind of like. Yes. One of the Kardashians, right? But Kim for sure.
Every morning they wake up, they have somebody probably doing their hair and makeup for them. I would say the least would be Britney Spears.
Yeah, she's got too much money to walk around like that.
She looks like a train wreck. Her hair looks terrible all the time. So,
do you think it happened when she shaved her head from that episode, or do you think it's just kind of other stuff? Stress?
You know what? I think probably a little of other stuff too, but I think it did start when she shaved her head and then got extensions too quickly after. The hair has to be 4 inches long at least for it to blend, and she did it too soon, and then you could see everything, and then it was just a disaster from that point forward.
I would also add Jennifer Lopez. Like, whoever does her hair, it just always looks amazing.
Yeah.
She looks like a rock star every single time. Sometimes it's short, sometimes it's long, sometimes she's got this great ponytail. So it's all extensions, but it looks amazing.
Yeah.
You can never tell. I mean, for someone like this, it's like... Okay, so, and then roughly, what do hair extensions cost for someone coming and saying, obviously it's going to be all across the board, but...
For fullness, it could be just $350. Because you just want to fill that in. If you're doing like length and fullness, then it could go up to about $2,500. But very few people have that much hair. So I would say on average between $350 and $1,500-ish.
And then it's like you dream it, you can build it with hair extensions. Is that right? So if you wanted to have your hair from, like, if I wanted my hair looks a little crazy, so I was in the OR all day. But if I wanted to have my hair go down to here, I could do it, right?
Yes.
My wife might not like that, but it's all. If my hair doesn't grow long enough, I'm going to have to go. I'm trying to do a man bun. So if it doesn't grow long enough, I'm going to have to be hair extensioned out, right?
Yeah.
But again, not that many men yet. Do you think men don't come in because of looks, haircut styles, or just kind of they're not aware of this as an option?
Well, Daria had a client that was getting married, and he wanted to wear a man bun on his wedding day. So he got extensions.
Because his boyfriend had naturally long hair and was going to wear a man bun. So he in turn wanted a man bun as well. So I did his extensions. So
could you tell there was extensions in there? Or was like, I'm sure it looked amazing, right?
Yeah,
it did look amazing. His hair is probably as long as yours, right?
I'm still not. It's surprisingly hard to do a man bun. So my hair right now is like down to here. I still can't quite do a man bun. And again, me in my 20s, I could grow hair so fast, but now that I'm like in my late 40s, unfortunately, even with all the vitamins and things I do, it's still really hard to grow your hair long. It takes me a while. So
yeah.
But don't stop now. Don't stop now. You've come so far.
We'll see. Okay. And then talking about this, any misconceptions about hair extensions? Someone who comes in, they come up with a preconceived notion about hair extensions.
That everyone can have them. I would say, when who was that actress, Jennifer Lawrence? When Jennifer Lawrence cut her hair super short, everyone thought that they would look like Jennifer Lawrence if they cut their hair super short. And I mean, we would have like 6 consultations per day, and all these girls would leave crying hysterically because their hair was like 2 inches long. And I'm like, all right, well, come back in like 6 months and we'll talk, and long hair is always in for summer. No matter what, women have to keep that in mind. Long hair is always in for summer. So maybe not everyone's suitable for a short haircut. And then your hair has to be at least 4 inches long. And keep that in mind when you cut it all off.
But the other misconception is that it's only made for women who want really long mermaid hair. That's not what hair, most of our clients they're okay with the length of their own hair. They just want it fuller, like it was when they were younger. So it is a more youthful look when your hair is full.
If you go to a beauty store, it's amazing how many products are all about volume. You never see, it's like aisle after aisle is about make my hair thicker, make my hair thicker. But the question is just only so much you can actually do with, conditioner and shampoo. At some point, if you really want your hair to look, movie star-esque, and both of you guys have movie star-esque hair, you're going to have to do something, kind of a little bit more, appropriate. Yeah. Okay. So hair restoration versus hair extensions. Let's talk about that a little bit, because we do some hair restoration. You guys do hair extensions. Your thoughts on that?
I feel like we'll be sending a lot more clients to you for it because, women are very self-conscious about their parts and, side parts, center parts. They can't wear a center part anymore because their hair is too fine. The extensions that we do are not really meant to go on the crown. So, and when women come in and they're looking for something more on the crown, that's where we would send them to you. Because
another thing they're very self-conscious about is they usually have a cowlick in the back where it splits. And if they have dark hair, it almost looks like a bald spot. Very, very self-conscious of that. So that they'd be a good candidate for something like hair restoration.
And I think for me, it's that balance act of there's a lot of women who, rather than going through the process of hair restoration, if they take, like you mentioned in the beginning, if they take great care of their hair and they do hair extensions, that's a great option for them. And women think about lashes all the time. And I think that hair extensions sometimes, I'm sure they know about it. It's become much more in the limelight now with so many people doing it, like the Kardashians, and But that being said, there's a lot of solutions to problems that don't necessarily mean something surgical that can be done and look amazing. And the benefit, I think, of hair extensions versus hair transplantation. With hair transplantation, we're rearranging the hair versus what you're doing is you're adding hair. So that's kind of it's a nice look. So there's some looks, a lot of looks that you guys can do that it's not medically or surgically possible, if that makes sense. So I think of them not as competing forces, but just kind of like depending on what they're looking, what their aim is, and they kind of go hand in hand.
Yes, correct. Mm-hmm. You might be coming to see you.
Yeah, we might be your clients for that one soon too.
I don't think so. You guys have, and you mentioned it earlier. I mean, you guys are super knowledgeable in hair. It's the classic, it's the Christmas tree pattern that we see for females that when they have that in their part, they're great candidates for it. You guys don't have that. So,
well, we also use dry shampoo that's pigmented. That's an optical illusion. So
that's another one. Which dry shampoo do you guys like?
We like the Batiste because they make all different colors. Mm-hmm. And I think it's called Your Mother. Or Mothers. That one's a good one too.
Your Mother's and Batiste. And just for our audience, so using dry shampoo, I'm going to tangent here, but what's the best way of using dry shampoo? Is it a substitute for regular shampoo? And that?
It can be, but only to spray it on your roots. Or if you have, like, I've been telling my clients that are self-conscious about that cowlick part, to spray a little bit of a pigmented shampoo back there. You cover it up.
Love it.
Yeah.
Another tool in the armamentarium, which is there. Cool. All right. Any last thoughts on anything here? I think there was a question you guys had about patients who've had hair transplant surgeries. How long would they have to wait before they get extensions again?
Yes.
And so I think it's really going to depend on the patients. The cool thing, the early part when hair transplanted hairs come out is that they're pretty fragile because they've just been shocked and they're kind of coming back. So typically I'm going to have them wait probably around a year before they can kind of go back to hair extensions. Now, if you're doing the non-transplanted hairs, and they're pretty easy to tell. If your hairs are, that long, it's easy. You can do those hairs without a problem. You can do that probably within a month. But if you're actually trying to, put extensions on the transplanted hairs, I'd wait a year or so. Because they're just not going to be, I don't think, healthy enough yet to kind of,
Probably not strong enough. Yeah, and you don't want to take that gamble because it's such an expensive and time-costing procedure.
But just like with anything with hair, it's always worth it. That's one thing I've learned about this break with COVID. When people look at themselves, I think people truly feel their best when they look how they want to look, and that tells me that they feel like how they want to feel. And I think there's a true correlation between those two together. And I think that they do so many things healthier for themselves, both physically, mentally, spiritually, when they're at their best with all those things.
Yes, right. I mean, there was the skit on Saturday Night Live 20 years ago. You look fabulous. You look marvelous. It's not how you look. It's not how you feel. It's how you look. And I think it does. You're right. If you feel like you look good, then you probably feel better.
Well, I'm going to get a snapshot of your hair right now because you guys look amazing right now. I should do this right now. And then we will, here we go. Seriously, you guys look great. So thank you so much for joining me and educating everyone in the world on hair extensions. And if they want to find you, where's your salon? What's your information?
We are at 2724 North Lincoln in Chicago, Suite 9. We are by appointment only. The phone number is 312-623-4490.
And then do you guys have a social media handle? I think you guys are Chicago Extension Twins on Instagram. Is that right?
On Instagram? Mm-hmm. Yes.
Are you the only twins who are doing extensions that you know of? You must be.
So. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, awesome. Well, thanks for joining me today. Look forward to seeing you.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Have a great night.